A man, wearing a white shirt and long pants, falls from the top of a building. He tries to understand what is happening. He is about to graduate. He has been working hard for his graduation, holding on to every bit of effort. At the hospital, a nurse is talking to the grandmother of the man who fell from the building. It's been 3 months, I'm sorry to say, but I've never seen a patient survive a brain concussion like this. I think you should prepare yourself, the nurse says, with concern. The grandmother angrily snaps at the nurse. What did you say? You mean I should give up? She says, pointing at the nurse, and angrily shooing her away. After falling from the building, the man is diagnosed with a brain concussion. The scene shifts to the man's side. His grandmother holds his hand, and calls out to him, Young Sung. Young Sung is our main character in this story. Young Sung can feel his grandmother's warm touch. Even in a coma, he is certain that he will recover and wake up, having never been sick before. But in this dark world, there is nothing he can do. Young Sung's grandmother grasps his hand and cries, saying, Young Sung, those bastards told me to give up on you. I've been taking care of you, since you lost your parents. How can I give up? She cries, hoping that Young Sung will give her a sign that he is still alive. Young Sung, with all his might, orders his body to move, fighting against the brain concussion he is suffering from. After that, a man who is Young Sung's younger brother comes and sits beside him. I can't take it anymore, big brother, his brother says with tears streaming down his face. Those bastards who are oppressing you are now oppressing me. He adds that their grandmother has started working at a restaurant to pay the hospital bills, and she gets hurt in the process. What do you want me to do? His brother says with unspeakable sadness. Big brother, it's better if you die. If you die, we won't have to suffer, his brother says. But despite all the sadness, he hopes that his brother will wake up from his coma, and not just give up. The hospital bills are fueling Young Sung's spirit to get back up. Even in his coma, Young Sung thinks that all of this is just a nightmare. If he waits a little longer, he will wake up from this nightmare. Days are turning into years, and it has been 3 years since Young Sung was hospitalized. Young Sung is still lying in bed, in a coma, wondering why his brother, Young Jin, hasn't come to visit him yet. 2 people, passing through the hospital corridor, say in a low voice that Young Sung's grandmother has fainted. It seems like they can turn up the TV volume now. Those words suddenly make Young Sung's anger explode. Inside Young Sung, a feeling of desire for revenge against Park Min-chul, Cho Young-taek, Young Min-ho, Kang Chong-suk, Oh Dae-won, and Lin Young-chul is boiling over. Even all the teachers who protected those bullies. Young Sung hopes that if he could get a miracle, go back in time, he would take revenge and suspenseful. Young Sung also hopes that if he gets a chance to go back in time, he will take revenge and destroy them all. In the old room, the fire of anger continues to swell, making Young Sung simulate how he would torture a blonde-haired man who is none other than Park Min-chul. Young Sung hits and kicks Park Min-chul, beats him up while crying in anger. He thinks that all this torture is not worth the pain his grandmother suffered. Young Sung also thinks that this torture is not worth what he experienced, and he starts planning everything and simulating what kind of torture he will inflict. Young Sung keeps repeating the simulation of torturing the bullies who tormented him for 7 years, even 10 years pass, and he thinks it's all futile, hoping someone will end his life. Suddenly, a white light illuminates Young Sung, and there is a figure of a man walking towards him. The man walks, and after reaching Young Sung, the figure smiles. Suddenly, Young Sung finds himself in a classroom. The classroom atmosphere is lively, the TV in the class is still the same, the blackboard looks normal, making Young Sung stand up, not believing his own eyes. Young Sung pinches his cheek to find out if this is a dream. But he winces in pain from the pinch. Young Sung sees a pen on his desk. He wants to try again, by stabbing the pen into his thigh, to check if this is a dream or not, and the result is that he feels pain after stabbing his thigh with the pen. Young Sung is silent, not believing what is happening. He goes back in time, and it's not a dream. This is the thing he has been wanting to do, to plan his revenge. Not far from Young Sung, Park Min-chul is beating up a fat guy. Park Min-chul is very angry when he hears the fat guy tell Park Min-chul to do it himself. Those words ignite Park Min-chul's anger, and he beats the fat guy until he falls to the ground. While kicking and stepping on the fat man's face, Park Min-chul says, "Do it yourself from now on, you bastard." If I wanted to do it myself, I wouldn't have told you to do it. Watching the fat man being beaten up, Young-sung remembers all the incidents he has experienced, and it all starts here. All the students in the incidents in the class make them fearful, and no one dares to intervene. They don't want to get involved with him, and just let the fat man be kicked by Park Min-chul. Young-sung walks, and stands behind Park Min-chul, asking him to stop. Park Min-chul stops and glances at him, saying, "What?" When he sees that it's Young-sung, Park Min-chul turns around and says, "Did I hear that wrong? Kim Young-sung, do you think you can handle this? If you think you're different from this guy, you're wrong." Before he can continue his sentence, Young-sung punches Park Min-chul with all his might, something he has been dreaming of doing for so long. And today, everything will change. Young-sung still remembers that day when Park Min-chul was the type of person who liked to bully and humiliate his friends. He also liked playing an online game called Legend Online. Park Min-chul asked the fat guy to level up his character in the game. The fat guy could only agree to Park Min-chul's request. At that time, Lee Young-min, or the fat guy, became Park Min-chul's free gamers. Lee Young-min's grades started to worsen, which were previously excellent. Not only did Park Min-chul ask him to level up his character, but he also ordered him to buy items for him. That was the first time Young-sung saw bullying like that, and the person being bullied was someone who had always helped him with his studies. He didn't want to look for trouble, but because of Lee Young-min's kindness, Young-sung couldn't bear to see him being bullied like that without anyone helping him. Young-sung's friends tried to stop him, and explained that the person he was facing was Park Min-chul. But with confidence, Young-sung said that he was pretty good at sports, so he wouldn't let Park Min-chul do whatever he wanted, and Park Min-chul didn't scare him at all. However, the result was very different from what he expected. He started being bullied and beaten up every day after school. Even he was still being beaten up every day without stopping, like a torture in hell, and became their game jockey at night, just to level up their game characters, which made him not get enough rest. The scene returns to the present. All the students are shocked to see Young-sung suddenly beating up Park Min-chul without warning. This also surprises Park Min-chul. Park Min-chul's anger explodes like a volcano. When Park Min-chul glances at Young-sung, Young-sung immediately grabs Park Min-chul's head and slams it onto the desk as hard as possible. The impact makes Park Min-chul's legs tremble, and blood flows from his lips and mouth. Without wasting any time, Young-sung unleashes a flurry of focused punches to Park Min-chul's face and keeps beating him up wildly. Young-sung unleashes the simulation he had done while he was in the hospital. Park Min-chul is the type of person who fights by relying on his physical strength, and is not used to getting punched, so when he receives punches, he becomes unstable and easy to beat up. Young-sung releases all his pent-up hatred and anger at this moment. Young-sung throws Park Min-chul into a locker in the classroom and steps on his face. Park Min-chul, who has received many punches, can only defend himself by covering his face with his hands. Young-sung doesn't care if Park Min-chul is beaten to death. While stepping on Park Min-chul's face, Young-sung mutters that if Park Min-chul looks at him, he will kick his face, and if he blocks the kick, he will break his arm. Suddenly chair flies towards Young-sung, who is stepping on Park Min-chul's face. He glances in the direction of the chair. It turns out that it's Park Min-chul's gang coming to help him. One of the men from the gang yells at Young-sung to stop. But Young-sung responds coldly, "What if I don't want to?" This statement suddenly shocks Young Minho. He stares at Young-sung and realizes that Young-sung looks calm and unafraid of them. Kong Chong-suk, a muscular man, walks towards Young-sung with anger, saying, "Are you crazy? Okay, I'll end your game now." It's known that their gang is called Park Min-chul's gang, because Park Min-chul leads them when they want to bully someone. But actually, Kong Chong-suk is the strongest member of the gang. Young-sung and Kong Chong-suk stand facing each other, their eyes locked in a tense stare. Just as they're about to start fighting, a student says, "Hey, the teacher is coming." This makes Young Minho decide to finish off Young-sung later. Young Minho calls out to Kong Chong-suk to leave. Kong Chong-suk looks at Young-sung with a gaze that seems to want to kill him. He says that Young-sung is finished, and he'll look for him after class ends, so he shouldn't try to run away. Park Min-chul's gang leaves the classroom. Park Min-chul, who is sitting in his chair with his head on the desk, thinks about what's happening. He remembers being beaten up, but what's more important is that he was beaten up by someone he considers a loser. The more Park Min-chul thinks about the incident, the angrier he becomes. He mutters that he'll kill him, and his gang will join him after class ends. If he had been more alert, he wouldn't have been beaten up like that. This is the first time he's been humiliated, especially by a loser. In class 1 to 8, Park Min-chul's gang is discussing Yun Sung beating up Park Min-chul. Kong Chong-suk says it would be better if class ends quickly. Young Minho says that Yun Sung acted strangely in his class 1 to 1, and wonders if he's under the influence of something. Young Minho adds that if this problem is left unchecked, others will start to rebel against them. Yun Sung has disrespected them, and it can't be ignored. Kong Chong-suk, with anger that can't be contained, plans to kill him. In class 1 to 1, Park Min-chul stands up and looks at Yun Sung. Park Min-chul shouts, "Kim Yun Sung, you're finished." As soon as he finishes his sentence, a kick launched by Yun Sung quickly hits Park Min-chul's face, making him almost lose consciousness and fall. But before he falls, Yun Sung holds his head. Yun Sung stares at Park Min-chul and says coldly, "We should have started this from the moment we met." Park Min-chul can only stare at Yun Sung and wonder what's going on with him. Yun Sung curses Park Min-chul and prepares to beat him up again. Park Min-chul asks himself if Yun Sung really wants to fight. The scene shifts to Young Minho's class. Young Minho stands up, seemingly unable to wait any longer, and his two friends stand up following him. Young Minho says, "It's enough, there's no more way to escape." The three of them go to Yun Sung's class, led by Young Minho, who walks in front.